When a flight attendant saw a girl's hand signal, he knew he had to call 911. The bustling atmosphere of Los Angeles International Airport was alive with the chatter of hurried travelers preparing for journeys that would take them across the country. Among them, a 7-year-old girl named Clara stood out. She wore a light blue dress, her blonde curls bouncing as she clutched her father's hand tightly. Clara's father, Mr. Grayson, seemed preoccupied, his attention glued to the screen of his smartphone. His stern demeanor and distracted air made it clear he was not to be disturbed, but Clara's anxious glances and restless fidgeting hinted at a different story. Inside the plane, Flight 843 was preparing for takeoff. Liam, the lead flight attendant, moved through the aisles with practiced efficiency. His welcoming smile and calm presence were assets during these moments of pre-flight chaos. As he approached row 14, his attention was drawn to Clara. Her wide, searching eyes met his, filled with something he couldn't quite place. Fear, perhaps, or a silent plea. Her father barely noticed. He was engrossed in his device, ignoring the nervous energy radiating from his daughter. Liam smiled gently at Clara, who held his gaze before looking away, clutching the armrest of her seat. As the plane taxied down the runway, Liam gave the safety briefing, but his mind kept drifting back to the little girl in row 14. Over the years, he had encountered countless passengers, but something about Clara tugged at his instincts. Her silence spoke volumes, and her every movement seemed to cry out for help. Once the plane stabilized in the air, Liam made a decision. He would keep a watchful eye on row 14 throughout the flight. What he didn't realize was that his decision to pay attention would soon set him on a path that would change his life, and Clara's, forever. The cabin lights dimmed as Flight 843 leveled out at cruising altitude. Passengers settled in, some scrolling through their devices, others flipping through magazines or dozing off. Liam began his first round of service, offering drinks and snacks to the passengers. When he reached row 14, he couldn't help but notice Clara's restless movements. She glanced nervously at her father, then at Liam, as if she were gathering courage to say something. When Liam offered drinks, Clara tugged at his sleeve. Her voice was low but urgent. "Sir, can I talk to you?" she whispered. Liam crouched beside her seat, lowering himself to her level. "Of course." "What's wrong?" he asked, his tone gentle. Before Clara could respond, her father looked up, his expression cold and disapproving. He pulled Clara back into her seat. "Don't bother him, Clara," he said in a firm tone. His grip on her arm was subtle but forceful. Liam nodded politely and moved down the aisle, but his concern grew. Back in the galley, he confided in Elena, another flight attendant. "There's something off with the little girl in row 14, he explained. "She tried to talk to me, but her father shut it down. She seemed scared." Elena frowned, glancing toward the cabin. "Be careful. If the father suspects anything, it could escalate." Determined to help, Liam grabbed a notepad and pen, formulating a plan. He returned to Clara, pretending to take drink orders. When her father looked away, Liam showed Clara a discreet note. "Are you in danger?" Clara's eyes widened. She looked at Liam, then gave the faintest of nods. Liam's heart sank. He continued down the aisle, his mind racing. This was no ordinary flight, and Clara needed his help. Clara's subtle signals grew more desperate as the flight continued. Liam, stationed in the galley, observed her closely. She began moving her fingers in the air, forming shapes that Liam struggled to decipher. The subtlety of her movements told him she was trying to avoid her father's notice. "What is she doing?" Liam asked Elena during a quiet moment. "It looks like she's spelling something." Elena leaned over and observed briefly. It could be sign language or just her trying to communicate in a way her father won't catch. Pay close attention. Determined to understand, Liam took another opportunity to observe Clara closely as he made his next pass through the aisle. This time, her hand movements were clearer, and he realized she was spelling out letters. H-E-L-P. A chill ran through Liam. He returned to the galley and quickly consulted Elena. "She's asking for help. This isn't just a hunch anymore." Elena's face grew serious. "What do we do now?" "We need to get her away from him, but we can't risk alarming the father," Liam replied. "Let's coordinate with the captain." He can alert authorities to be ready when we land. When Clara's father left his seat to use the restroom, Liam seized the moment. He approached Clara and whispered, "Meet me at the restroom in 2 minutes. Pretend you're going alone. Is help by you." Clara nodded slightly, her trembling hands gripping the armrest. 2 minutes later, she appeared near the restroom, her small frame quivering. Inside, Liam knelt to her level. "What's going on, Clara? Tell me everything," he urged gently. Her voice cracked as she spoke. "My dad, he took me from my mom. He said we're moving and I'll never see her again. I don't want to go with him. Please help me." The gravity of Clara's words hit Liam hard. This wasn't just a nervous child. It was a potential abduction. Keeping his expression neutral, he reassured her. "You're safe now, Clara. I promise I'll help you." He escorted her back to her seat, ensuring she slipped in unnoticed before her father returned. Back in the galley, Liam informed the captain, who immediately contacted air traffic control to arrange for law enforcement to meet them upon landing. "We'll need a plan to keep her safe," the captain said. "If the father catches on, things could get dangerous." Liam relayed everything to Elena. They decided to act cautiously, keeping Clara calm while monitoring her father's behavior. Liam's every instinct told him the situation could escalate at any moment. As the flight progressed, turbulence rattled the plane. Passengers gripped their seats, and Clara's father looked around suspiciously. Liam noticed his gaze linger on Clara, who was visibly tense. To defuse the situation, Liam offered her a cup of juice. "This should help you feel better," he said with a warm smile. Clara took it, her hands shaking slightly. Liam's presence seemed to comfort her, but the tension in the air was undeniable. Every interaction with Clara felt like walking a tightrope, with her father's cold eyes watching. As the plane began its descent, Liam and Elena finalized their plan. "When we land, I'll make an announcement about a technical issue," Elena said. "We'll use the confusion to get Clara away from her father." Liam nodded, his resolve firm. Approaching Clara, he whispered, "When we land, stay close to me. Don't let go of my hand." Clara nodded, her wide eyes reflecting both fear and trust. The final moments of the flight stretched into eternity, every second charged with tension as Liam prepared for the critical moment. Flight 843 touched down on the tarmac at Boston International Airport, its wheels hitting the ground with a jolt. For Liam, it was both a relief and the start of the most dangerous part of the journey. He glanced toward row 14, where Clara sat rigidly, her small hands clutching the armrest. Her father's attention was divided between his phone and the commotion of landing, but Liam noticed his occasional glances toward Clara. The man's stiff posture suggested suspicion was beginning to creep in. Liam walked briskly to the galley, where Elena was waiting. She gave him a quick nod. The captain confirmed. "Police are ready at the gate," she whispered. "But we need to move fast before he realizes what's happening." Returning to the intercom, Elena made her announcement. "Ladies and gentlemen, due to a minor technical issue, we ask that all passengers disembark as quickly as possible once the doors open. Please follow the crew's instructions." The cabin filled with murmurs as passengers began gathering their belongings. The controlled chaos was exactly what Liam needed. He approached row 14, his heart pounding. "Sir, let me assist your daughter as we disembark. It will help speed things up," he said, maintaining an air of professionalism. Mr. Grayson hesitated, his eyes narrowing as he studied Liam. "I'll take her," he said curtly. Before Liam could respond, Elena appeared nearby, engaging Mr. Grayson in a brief conversation about cabin baggage procedures. The distraction worked. Liam gently took Clara's hand and led her toward the front of the plane, her tiny fingers trembling in his grasp. "Stay close to me," Liam whispered as they approached the door. Outside, a group of plainclothes police officers awaited them, blending in with the airport staff. Liam handed Clara over to one of the officers, who quickly escorted her to safety. Returning to the cabin, Liam saw Mr. Grayson rising from his seat, his face contorted in confusion. "Where's my daughter?" he demanded, his voice rising. Before Liam could respond, another officer entered the plane, approaching Mr. Grayson calmly. "Sir, we need to speak with you," the officer said. "What is this about? Where is Clara?" Mr. Grayson demanded, but the officer's firm demeanor left no room for argument. The man reluctantly followed the officer off the plane, his agitation growing with every step. The tension in the terminal was thick as passengers disembarked, unaware of the unfolding drama. Liam stayed near the gate, watching as Clara was taken to a secure room with social workers and police officers. For a moment, he felt a flicker of relief, until an alarm blared through the terminal. "Escape attempt," someone shouted. Chaos erupted as people scattered, and Liam's heart sank. He sprinted toward the secure area, fearing the worst. When he arrived, he saw Clara safe but visibly shaken, surrounded by her protectors. "Where's her father?" Liam asked one of the officers. "He slipped away during transport," the officer said, his expression grim. "We're locking down the terminal, but he knows this airport. He could be anywhere." The next minutes felt like hours as security teams combed the terminal. Liam stayed close to Clara, offering quiet reassurances. "You're safe here. I won't let him hurt you," he promised, though his own nerves were frayed. Finally, over the radio, a voice crackled. "Suspect located in a restricted area. Officers moving in." Liam exhaled a shaky breath as the officer returned moments later, confirming Mr. Grayson had been detained again, this time under stricter security. "We won't let him get near her again," the officer assured him. Liam knelt in front of Clara, who clung to him tightly. "It's over now," he said softly. "You're safe." Her tearful eyes met his, and for the first time, Liam saw a glimmer of hope. Despite the chaos and fear, she had found someone to trust. As the terminal began to settle, Liam stayed with Clara, now under the care of Child Protection Services. He was preparing to leave when a woman burst into the room, her face pale and her eyes brimming with tears. Clara froze for a moment, then leapt from her seat. "Mom!" she cried, running into the woman's arms. The reunion was both heartwarming and heartbreaking. Clara's mother held her tightly, sobbing into her curls. "I thought I'd lost you," she whispered. "Are you okay? Did he hurt you?" Clara shook her head. "Liam helped me. He kept me safe." The woman looked up at Liam, gratitude shining through her tears. "Thank you," she said, her voice breaking. "You saved my daughter. I don't know how I'll ever repay you." Liam felt a lump in his throat. "She's an incredible girl. She did most of the hard work by being brave." The police briefed Clara's mother on the situation, explaining that her ex-husband was in custody and facing charges of abduction. "We'll work with you to ensure Clara's safety going forward," one officer assured her. Clara stayed close to her mother, but her gaze often drifted back to Liam. When it was time for him to leave, she ran to him and hugged him tightly. "Thank you, Liam," she said softly. "I'll never forget you." Days later, Liam sat in a quiet room at the police station, giving his official statement. The details poured out: Clara's signals, her whispered plea, the confrontation on the plane. As he recounted the events, he realized just how close things had been to ending differently. "You did the right thing," the officer assured him. "Your quick thinking saved her from a terrifying fate." Though Liam felt relief, he couldn't shake the emotional weight of the experience. On his way out, he checked in with the social worker handling Clara's case. "How's she doing?" he asked. "She's adjusting," the social worker replied. "She's with her mom now, and we're providing counseling. You made a huge difference in her life." Liam returned to his routine, but Flight 843 was never far from his mind. He often thought of Clara's bravery and her mother's gratitude. The experience had been harrowing, but it reminded him of the profound impact small actions could have. Months later, Liam received a letter. Inside was a drawing of a plane with two figures holding hands. The note read, "Thank you for keeping me safe. Love, Clara." Tears filled Liam's eyes as he pinned the note to his bulletin board. Some flights, he realized, are more than just journeys. They're opportunities to change lives. Thank you for watching this incredible story of bravery and quick thinking aboard Flight 843. Clara's courage and the heroic actions of the flight attendant remind us of the power of vigilance and compassion in unexpected moments. If this story inspired you, please give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories like this. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new upload. Together, let's continue to spread stories that make a difference. See you in the next one.